Hello everybody from Canberra. It's a typical chilly day, so I've got a coat on to keep warm today, and it's a bit quiet behind me here in the sheds. The team and the NTC athletes from the Reinhold Barchi Centre here in Canberra, and of course the Hancock Prospecting Centre in Penrith are away in Europe. And as you receive this update, they'll be well and truly getting settled in Poznan for the first World Cup of the season. It's been a few months since we last caught up. It's been a busy time post the Nationals, and there's a few things I'm just keen to share with you as we reflect on what's occurred and what lies ahead. In late May, all roads headed to Perth, and we had a fantastic time over in Western Australia. The Australian Masters Championships, a weekend of meetings and engagement with the RA board, forum, the AGM. And I really want to give a big shout out to Craig James, to David Rose and Dan Tackenberg and everyone involved in WA Rowing for just doing a fantastic job in hosting everybody at Champion Lakes. We had a really fascinating evening of celebrations midway through the regatta at the new Optus Stadium in the heart of Perth. And that was a forerunner to what was a big weekend of activities, including the AGM, where Merrick Howes was re-elected to the board. We said goodbye to Andrew Guerin, who's been a fantastic contributor to the board over a number of years, and welcomed from Victoria Andrew Mickelmore. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the work that Andrew Guerin has done, and a lot of that, of course, is prior to my involvement here at Rowing Australia. But in the last 12 months or so, it's been a delight and pleasure to work with Andrew as we've built up to the celebrations of the Centenary of the King's Cup. Some of you might have seen this book, Pulling Through, that was written by famed Australian sports historian Bruce Coe. If you get a chance to buy a copy, it tells the story of the 1919 AIF No. 1 crew and its success at the Henley Peace Regatta. And in only a few weeks' time, the 2019 King's Cup race is going to be held again at Henley, with crews from representing the military from around the Allied nations, joined also this time tellingly by Holland and Germany. And we've only said goodbye earlier this week to the Australian crew. It's a mixed gender crew. They've worked very, very hard over the last 9 months, and I know they're going to represent our country with great pride, dignity and respect for what is an incredible occasion. So Andrew, again, thank you for all of what you've done. I know there's a documentary not too far away which again brings to light and tells this compelling story of our sport and our strong links with the military going all the way back to the Great War. One thing I learnt last year in my first year in the job is just how important the Henley Regatta is, how historic, symbolic. It's almost like a worldwide calling, something a rower wants to have on their CV. And whilst this year we won't have national teams competing, and what an extraordinary regatta it was for us last year with both the men's and women's eights winning those trophies in course record time, there will be plenty of Australians competing, the highlight of which of course will be the ADF mixed gender crew competing for the King's Cup. Another highlight though of Henley Week will be what we now believe will be our annual lunch at Australia House on the Tuesday. It's a sold out event. It's going to be a fantastic occasion at which we draw together so many members of the rowing family who have travelled to be a part of the Henley experience, whether it be clubs, schoolboys or schoolgirls or the military crew. And of course the special guest of honour, the original King's Cup trophy, going back to England for the first time in 100 years. As I said in my opening remarks, the national team, along with Eric Horry, our 5-time defending world champion, are currently in Poland preparing for World Cup 2. But we shouldn't forget it's also a very busy year for our underage and pathway teams. The Junior World Championships are in Japan, in Tokyo Bay, and it will be the one and only event, the test event, for the Olympic and Paralympic regatta that will be held in Tokyo next year. We have our annual Trans-Tasman Challenge against the Kiwis, and delighted again to welcome the Canadians who will be participating in the second New Zealand hosted leg of that event. And then finally the under-23s. It's Sarasota in Florida, an important event, and we're building on some reconnection with our US college-based athletes with a recent camp held in Princeton that will see some crews emerge based on that athletic group. As I said earlier, at the end of May, all roads headed to Perth, WA. But for the month of May, I spent most of it on the road, conducting the second of my roadshow visits around the country since I started just over a year or so ago. It was a fantastic opportunity again to engage with the rowing community in every state and territory of this great land. These stats tell you a lot about the Roadshow and the spread of our sport geographically right around the country. 6 states and 1 territory, 8 cities, 8 forums, 13 days of activities, 5 local clubs hosting forums, over 90 clubs represented in attendance, 17 clubs personally visited across the country. An important piece of business that was discussed at the forum with all the states and territory representatives in the one room was our national event strategy. And I know this has been a matter of keen interest from everyone around the country. The feedback through the roadshows has told me that. We've listened very carefully and we're looking to craft a 10-year calendar that captures all of the essence of the beauty of going back to Penrith, our premier national venue, but also looking to take the Nationals around the country, of course, along with the Masters. So watch this space for some good news that will emerge in the next few weeks, that will capture the essence of seeing representation and rotation around the country, which will also trigger important infrastructure investments from state governments and local governments to ensure our venues continue to be a showcase for our great sport. The founding principle on the roadshows and the forums which we are able to host and the one-on-one engagement is to ensure that we embed a spirit of collaboration. The challenges for sport are many, the challenges for our sport are many, but we only put ourselves in the best possible position to work together to secure the solutions that matter and that will endure by working hard together. And that's the commitment I'll continue to lead from the team here in Canberra, working with everybody right across the country. Thanks again for dropping in to get an update on all matters rowing here over the last 2 or 3 months. It's going to be in a really exciting period ahead. So when I join you next in October, it'll be after the World Championships. Let's hope we've got some good news to share about results and, more importantly, qualification outcomes for both the Olympics and Paralympic regattas in Tokyo next year. So take care, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all again very soon.